Hello everyone, this is Freddy here, and today I have yet another set of content on this channel. So if you had noticed on my community tab, just about a week or so ago, I believe, I held a poll asking if you guys would be at all interested in me putting on Five Nights at Freddy's security breach themed fanfictions on the channel. And the overwhelming majority vote was 100% yes, which was very startling considering 44 different people voted on that, and all of them said yes. And I was pretty happy about it because I honestly wanted to do it. But I especially mentioned in that community post that I did have a specific idea in mind for Freddy specifically, and I wanted to stay true to that. So I had decided to make the very first fic of Five Nights at Freddy's about, Freddy. He is the name of the game, and he also is the best boy in the game, by my opinion. So yeah. There is no spoilers of the game, in this particular fanfiction, especially because, the plot of this fanfiction has nothing to do with the plot of the game, so you are free to read this in your own leisure. And I should mention a slight trigger warning. It does contain the reader having a panic attack. So if that is something that could potentially be a problem for you, then I would recommend maybe not watching this video. But not to worry, there is nothing but tooth-rotting fluff at this. And I even had been considering making a part 2 to this, but I didn't at the time because it was almost 3 a.m. whenever I wrote this story. So I was a little sleep-deprived and did not want to spend all night working on it. So I cut some corners. A bit of a dick move on my part, but I hope that you guys still like it regardless. So yeah, without further ado, this is a Glamrock Freddy from Five Nights at Freddy's ex-reader/listener, who is a gender-neutral reader/listener. The title is Panic Attacks, and without further ado, let's get started. You had just clocked in for your very first night shift at the one and only Mega Pizzaplex. Even though this was your first night shift, you had actually worked at the Pizzaplex for a little over a month now. But despite the fact that you were here for that long, you honestly didn't interact with the animatronics much. However, Chica and Freddy were the ones you were the most familiar with, especially Chica. It wasn't as though that you didn't like the others, far from it. Roxy could be rather prideful, but to be fair, it was hard not to be confident when one was that gorgeous. Monty had a hilarious and oddly dark sense of humor for a kid's robot, but he was also very hot-tempered and can be kind of aggressive. Moondrop and Sundrop were very energetic and a little scary, respectively, but you had not had much experience with either of them because you only worked during the day. Moondrop would be away for obvious reasons, but Sundrop would be so busy with the kids and the daycare to sit and talk with you. Now, I hear you asking, what about Freddy? Well, Freddy was a robotic angel, but it was hard for you to talk to him for longer than 2 minutes. Not that I could personally blame you. You could hardly contain yourself when he called you superstar. He was absolutely flawless to work with, given how kind he was to everyone. But these thoughts were the last things you were thinking on this particular night. In fact, you were stressed out of your fretful brain. Why is that the case, you ask me? Well, it's not why. It's who. Vanessa had given you more shit than she normally did, which led to the problems of tonight. But I digress. So when you clocked into work, you went straight to Rockstar Row to find Chica. But of course, fate had decided she would be nowhere in her dressing room. Not seeing Chica around and not knowing where she was in this maze of a Pizzaplex only made your anxiety multiply by tenfold. You let out a few small whimpers and whines by accident. You slowly sank down to the floor as you felt tears come down your face like a pair of waterfalls. You weren't sure how long you were sitting on the floor, but you suddenly heard a robotic but still sweet voice. Your name? Are you okay? You wanted to respond, to open your eyes, but you could not for the life of your own self bring yourself to do it. Please, your name, please respond. Your heart rate is very high. I am worried. Words so could not be formed. So instead, you let out a tiny whimper to communicate that fact. Since you're unresponsive, I will ask for your consent moving forward. All you have to do is nod your head or shake your head to communicate yes or no. Can you do that for me, superstar? You felt your heart skip a beat when you heard that blessed nickname. You slowly nodded your head. Good job. Do you consent to me taking you to a more comfortable location? You nodded again. Slowly, you were lifted up and off the ground and into a pair of strong but metallic arms. Before you knew it, you were laid down on a soft cushion. You opened your eyes and looked around to see the one and only Freddy Fazbear's dressing room. Not only that, but you were seated next to said Fazbear on his giant and yet oddly comfortable sofa. You couldn't help but feel a little bit embarrassed that you had such a big moment of panic in front of the one animatronic that delivered such a strong but warm feeling in your chest. While you were caught in your mind, Freddy took that moment to analyze your heart rate. He felt confused and concerned about what could possibly be wrong, so he took a moment to look it up in his database. According to his 2-second research, it was a panic attack. He decided to be bold and take a plushie of himself before handing it to you. When Freddy handed the plushie to you, you blinked in confusion and looked up at him. He caught your expression. I had thought you were in the middle of a panic attack. And a distraction is a good way of... You cut him off by taking the plushie and hugging it tightly. Freddy couldn't help but feel a little bit envious of that stuffed plush of himself. He wasn't sure why, but he felt an urge he wasn't aware he could feel. But he wished that you would hug him in a way that radiated that much love. He looked back up at Freddy and smiled sweetly. Thank you, Freddy. He wished he could smile back. But at least he could respond in words. You're welcome, superstar. I really wanted so badly to add more to this story. And I have thought about making a part 2, but I'm not quite sure yet. Especially because I have a couple other projects that I really want to make. One of them being a Dipper-X reader. But another probably that I especially want to try out is a sun and a moon from Five Nights at Freddy's with the reader. Because, oh my god, he is so adorable. But, yeah, other than that, I think that's everything, for this particular video. If you guys have any ideas for security breach themed ideas for the video, for videos on this channel, please let me know what I could potentially do. I am all open for ideas because, oh my god, I love security breach. It's like I have not been this obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's since middle school. So in almost 6 years, like 5 or 6 years. So it's coming on strongly. But, yeah, thank you all so very much for watching. And as always, it's the Freddy, and I'll be seeing you all very soon. Bye-bye.